Aloha everyone, my name is Taylor Campogan and I'm a 10th grader at Kealakehe High School. As a student, I have come to enjoy learning that helps me be successful inside and outside of the classroom, as well as express who I am. For me, student voice is really important because it gives the power back to the students and allows them to be self-directed learners by giving them freedom to express their true thoughts. Sometimes teachers can't fit their lesson to teach individual students and fail to capture the engagement of the whole class. Student voice presents an opportunity for students to shape their learning in a way that fits them best and helps solve societal challenges. So that's just a little info on why the idea of student voice matters to me and my friends. But let's hear it from someone who has made my voice not only heard, but seen at the school and in my community. Someone you know as the Hawaii State Teacher of the Year, but when we're learning with him, we just like to call him Mr. Williams.
Aloha, distinguished guests, leaders, students, and community members. I wish I could be there to learn beside you in person, but I'm so humbled and excited to have this special opportunity to share with you at this year's Educational Leadership Institute. What an exciting time to be learning leaders within education. The open sources of knowledge available to us and the positive energy around equity and innovation makes the work we do so rewarding. And to think we get to do it here in Hawaii, the most beautiful and diverse place in the world, is something we cannot take for granted. The last 7 years of being an educator has been one of my greatest joys. I began my beautiful journey through Teach for America and was blessed to be placed at Kealakehe Intermediate School as an inclusion special education teacher. Instilled within me early on as a TFA teacher was the principle of doing everything with intention. It is a driving force that reminds me to think critically and act responsibly to the needs of my students and community. We are living both in exciting and challenging times. Whether it be the field of education, medicine, technology, or the sciences, we know the immense amount of opportunities that are waiting for our students. Just as these opportunities shine brightly, still pressing on their backs are the sad realities of gender inequality, social injustice, climate change, or the increasing gap within education. Recognizing both the opportunities and challenges facing our students, we have an even greater responsibility to think, listen, reflect, and act in a way that meets the needs of all students. Values are aspirational, but it is our behaviors of what we do that matters more. Today, I'd like to share with you 3 behaviors that have allowed my students' voices to not just be heard, but seen through their actions. If we are choosing to place value on student voice, we must practice the behavior of giving clarity. I'm sure some of you have heard the story of Apple's computer's first advertisement in the New York Times. It looks something like this. It was all computer talk that nobody outside of NASA was interested in. The computer bombed. So, the first campaign he released went from 9 pages to just 2 words on billboards all over America, with 2 simple words that many of us are familiar with: think different. The clarity that Steve Jobs figured out when sharing the story of Apple was pivotal to their company's future success. As leaders and educators, are we giving clarity around what we expect, but also how we will support? This question of clarity is essential if we seek to create a school and classroom culture that tells an accurate story of how we will behave in order to foster belonging, encourage innovation, and recognize the uniqueness each person has to offer.
We know all of you want us to be the best that we can be, reach our fullest potential, and achieve our biggest dreams. But what does that mean? By being clear with your expectations and showing exactly what this looks like makes it easier for us to be successful. In class, the phrase "shooting for greatness" is stressed throughout our projects. For example, by Mr. Williams pushing us to do our absolute best while filming broadcasts and make sure we capture the best takes in the best setting possible, the phrase becomes more than a phrase. It comes alive. Give clarity. It can make all the difference in all of us becoming great.
The second behavior needed to see impact from the voices of our students is giving freedom and responsibility. Humans are naturally creative and curious, but we have to create opportunities for this to be practiced. Whether it be figuring out a new program, solving a math problem, or choosing to create something based upon one of their interests, our students must understand that they have the freedom to do so. With that freedom comes the responsibility of doing it for others.
Allowing students to have the freedom to not only create, but determine the process of creation and exploring makes learning fun. When you are clear about what you expect, it makes it easier for us to be intentional when we have freedom within our learning. This freedom will also prepare us to be independent and future leaders beyond our time in school. In class, I know I have the freedom to create a video on anything that comes to mind, but what keeps me focused is knowing that I am responsible for getting it in on time, communicating a central message, and working positively with my team. When I'm given freedom within my learning, I become more invested in the responsibility of doing it for others, as well as to better myself as a learner.
The final behavior we must activate to bring action to the voices of our students would be to give feedback. We know we won't get it right every time. That's a given. Recognizing this is our culture of leading and learning agile enough to provide checkpoints of feedback. Having authentic, consistent feedback loops has been instrumental for my students to create and share work that they are proud of. This is not because the work was perfect, but rather because they truly internalized the process of working towards excellence. Feedback allows me to not only communicate areas of improvement, but more importantly, has the potential to increase my students' joy factor as I share what's working well with their application of learning. This pays forward huge dividends as their belonging is strengthened and motivation to strive for excellence is realized.
Feedback has been everything in making me the best that I can be. I want to know how I'm doing, not at the end, but throughout my learning experience. Mr. Williams always tells us it's not about the end product, but the process that got you there. Whether you are a school leader or educator, you have to find ways to give not just feedback, but feedback that is specific. When Mr. Williams gives me specific feedback, it helps me focus on my weaker areas and know exactly how to target and strengthen them. When you are giving feedback, don't forget to also share what's working so students like me or those you lead can keep on doing it. When I'm able to hear the things I'm doing well, it strengthens my confidence and helps me know my learning is contributing to something greater than myself. Well, there you have it, 3 behaviors that I've experienced within my learning that makes my voice not only heard, but have meaning and impact.
Ultimately, the expectations that I have for all my students is that they learn not just to be successful, but rather to be significant. Moving from success to significance takes the intentional process of having behaviors that cause us to learn not just for self, but taking what we learn to help others. If we work to give clarity, freedom and responsibility, and feedback, the voices of our students have the potential to be significant for others. As I close, I leave with you this final thought. Before the voices of our students can be heard, seen, and felt, we must first intentionally reflect on our own behaviors and the behaviors of those we lead to ensure they bring what we value most to life. What behaviors are evident within your own school culture that value student voice? Mahalo for your willingness to see each child for who they are. Enjoy the rest of your time together and the learning ahead. Aloha.